Hi, good evening, my dear students. I am Jayashree Venkatachalam, who is Associate Professor of Sri Narayana Guru College of Commerce, Chembur. Yesterday, I was discussing about the demand side of New Economic Policy 1991. If you like that video, kindly subscribe to my channel. I will be going on uploading micro and macro economics various topics. Today we are going to discuss the supply side management of NEP 1991. As I told you, new economic policy has created a historical change in the economic canvas of India. So it has supply side and the demand side. In the supply side, what are the major points we are going to discuss? First is the industrial sector reforms. Second, public sector reforms and disinvestment, trade and capital flows, financial sector reforms. Let's start with industrial sector reforms. Industrial sector reforms, basically it is focusing on abolition of industrial licensing. My dear students, from 1951 till 1991, India was following license Raj. What do you mean by license Raj? To start any industry, the industrialists require license from the government. Everybody knows that whenever you require license, it has led to lot of bureaucratic delay and corruption. So the privatization and the NEP, they have decided that this license Raj should be stopped. As a result, the new economic policy has abolished industrial licensing. At present, only five industry require license in India: alcohol, cigarettes, dangerous chemicals, defense equipment, and industrial explosive. Because these are the five items which cannot be produced without license. Because ours is still not a fully privatized economy where profit is not the only objectives in production. So government is controlling those industries which are injurious to health as well as injurious to society. That is still controlled by the government. Industrial sector reform, the next step what the government has started is they permitted foreign direct investment and foreign technology. My dear students, foreign direct investment was not allowed in India before 1991. What was the reason? Because everybody is aware about the economic history of India. More than 300 years we were under the control of Britishers, and we know the value of freedom, we know the value of sovereignty and the sacrifice which is done by our political leaders, committed political leaders. Because of that, today myself and yourself are enjoying freedom in the country. But when we had gone for NEP 1991, we have to open our economy because globalization, India is also the part of globalization. So when we opened the door, the first door which was opened was inviting foreign direct investment. You may ask the question, Madam, why do we need foreign direct investment? It is required because India is still a developing economy. We want money for infrastructure. We want money in the power sector. There are so many areas where India require money. We do not have sufficient private capital with us. But remember, government was very careful. They allowed FDI step by step. First, they allowed 51% in the beginning in selected sectors. Then later it went up to 100%. For example, hotel industry, they are allowing 100% FDI. Because when India becomes global, naturally we have to open up the economy. But we know that ministry was studying each and every proposal, understanding the pros and cons before allowing foreign direct investment to the country. Then another important feature of NEP 1991 is public sector's role has been reduced. It is nothing but natural to understand that when a country goes for privatization, the role of public sector will be reduced. So the number of industries reserved under public sector has been reduced to 3. Please kindly note that. Only 3 industries are now exclusively reserved for public sector. What are they? atomic energy, items notified by Atomic Energy Department, and railways. But now, after the inception of NEP 1991, so many years are over. In 2020, railway, we cannot call that it is 100% reserved for the public sector. What you see in the metropolitan cities, the metros, Delhi Metro or Bombay metros, they are all following a separate type of category that is known as triple P, public private partnership. It is not fully given to the private, it is a combination of public sector and private sector partnership. But in the earlier years, when we have started new economic policy, atomic energy, railway, and the items notified by the Atomic Energy Department is under the control of government. This is basically because atomic energy was reserved for the national security reasons. Railway was reserved because masses of India uses railway for transport. Another main point which I would like to emphasize is new economic policy has removed MRTP. My dear students, please understand what is MRTP. Monopoly and restrictive trade practices. India was following MRTP till the year 2001. Please remember, when we started privatization in 1991, all on a sudden we cannot change the entire structure of the economy. The question arises is, in the years of economic planning, why did we follow MRTP? Because you are very well aware that socialism was the dream of earlier economists and politicians. So they wanted to emphasize on equal distribution of income. India's economic planning, we were considering earlier Soviet Union as the model during our planning period. So India also followed socialism. So what is the meaning of this MRTP? If a company's asset is more than 100 crore, that company will automatically come under MRTP commission. Please understand that the very purpose was to stop the monopoly. You may wonder, madam, what is the problem if there is monopoly? If the monopoly is permitted, naturally rich will become more richer and poor will become more poor. Western countries, or you say USA, which is the cradle of capitalism, they always believe in competition, they always believe in monopoly. Please remember, true competition many times leads to monopoly, because those who are very efficient in competition, they become the monopolist. That is the reason US is producing billionaires in the world. Always it is produced by them. Let it be Bill Gates, let it be Bezos, always the billionaires come from US. But India never believed in that. So till 2001, we followed MRTP. That means companies cannot expand, beyond a particular limit. There were restrictions. But remember, 2002 onwards, MRTP is no longer existing in the country. It is replaced by Competition Act. Please, again I am emphasizing 2002 onwards, we said goodbye to MRTP and now we are following competition. What is Competition Act? We will be discussing in a separate video. Here, just to make you understand, Competition Act means company can go for aggressive expansion and there will be competition, and in that competition, whoever is surviving, they will become the winner. This is the plus or minus point of privatization. Privatization means there will be competition, but government is always seeing that there should be fair competition. The term disinvestment is something which is very new to India, and you should know what is the reason why did we go for disinvestment. And disinvestment is a term which has involved a lot of controversies. What do you mean by disinvestment? Selling the part of shares of government-owned company to the private sector or to the individuals, but in majority cases, ownership will be with the government. Please remember, in disinvestment, government was not going to give the ownership, 100% ownership to the private. A part of the shares of the government, part of the shares of the company will be sold to the private sector or the private individuals. The basic question arises, why did we think about disinvestment? Please remember, country was facing severe fiscal crisis. So government wanted to get revenue. They were thinking of various ways of revenue, which we discussed in the first video. Another way of raising the revenue is by selling the part of government-owned company. 277 public sector units are owned by Government of India. Remember, some of them are making excellent profit. Some of them are making loss. Companies like Modern Bread, SAIL, Steel Authority of India, they were all making huge amount of loss. At the same time, see, companies like Maruti Udyog, Gas Authority of India, Shipping Corporation, Oil and Natural Gas Company, they are all making excellent profit. There are again companies like BPCL, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, Coal India Limited, NTPC, National Thermopile Corporation. These are all excellent profit-making company. So government made a categorical study of each and every company and decided to sell a part of the shares of the company. For example, Maruti Udyog, they have sold out some of their shares, and the people were standing in queue to purchase the shares of Maruti Udyog. And today we know that one share of Maruti is costing around 6,500 even in the downstream market. And when Maruti Udyog was, went on IPO, the share was costing around 220 rupees. So there are excellent companies and people are ready to purchase the shares of profit-making companies. Most of the PSUs were having the problem, whether it is profit-making or loss-making. They were all affected with corruption, political interference and trade union issues. So one or other were affecting the working of public sector unit. So government decided that if the ownership pattern slightly changes by including the private in the picture, this working of this public sector unit will be, it can be made better. So my dear students, here I am ending this portion of the video and we will continue the remaining part of the economic reforms in the next slide. Thank you. Have a nice day.